Hello everybody, how are you doing? I'd like to welcome you to the shop. We are getting ready to have a garage sale next weekend, and I wanted to go through the shop and get rid of some things that I've had for a long time, I've not used, and I just needed to clean out and get rid of. And that was just going to be a couple of hours, I thought. Well, it turned into 2 full days, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, of shop cleaning, and I'm really happy with how my shop looks. And I've had a couple of requests for a shop tour, and I haven't done one for a long time. And I think while the shop is clean, before I get in here and start getting crazy and messing it up, it might be a good time for me to do a quick shop tour and show you guys around. We'll start out at the entrance to the shop, and I just have a toolbox there full of mechanics tools. I have a little table here that I use for assembly, or actually lately it had been used for just junk storage. It was piled as high as the toolbox full of junk, but I can use it for assembly now. That's just a box of blank cutoffs down there. I've got my shop stool. This is my main work table. That's a little magnifying light that I can pull over the table. I've got paint brushes, I've got glue brushes, I've got pencils, pens, things that I use at the table. That's just a cutting mat, a self-healing cutting mat. I've got a blank going right now that we'll have a video on shortly, but I've got this nice and cleaned off. That's my oven for warming up my molds whenever I want to mold something in the pressure pot. I've got drawers there full of blanks and full of small tools, and I've got magazines and books below there with all types of shop projects. At the end of that table, I've got my scroll saw. I've gone ahead and mounted a lot of things that I use often to the post of my loft. We'll come around behind the scroll saw. I've got my jointer there. This is a mobile heater slash air conditioner. It will heat and cool 25,000. It's a 25,000 BTU, so it will handle this garage no problem. I have that tub right there as part of a project I have going, and you'll see that at the end of the tour. It's for a cooler box. And then those are some items that I need to get rid of. I just haven't. This is my old shop vac. The shop vac went kaput, so I threw that motor away, but I kept the wheeled bucket because it's great for just cutoffs and small chunks of wood. Up top, we've got our stereo, all of our shop stickers along the front of the loft. Real happy about those. Thank you for sending them in to me. Behind here, we've got a couple of things. That's just a really long drill bit for drilling inside of walls, down through floors. That's for cleaning out your vents on your dryer. I've got a clamp rack back in the back, as well as a rack for all of my cords. Coming down a little bit, we've got a few more clamps down here. There were a bunch of rulers behind there, long, like 3 and 4 foot rulers that I use quite a bit. I think that's everything over there. I've got, that is my pneumatic toolbox. And those are a couple of lathes right now. They don't work. I've just been using them for parts. Most recently, I used the motor off one of them to get my metal lathe working. I've got a few more clamps back there. Let me back up just a little bit. This is the door to get up into the attic. And this is just a little, show. I don't want to take that down with one hand, but it's just a little drawer that I made. You take those 2 latches off, it lowers down. There's some chains in there to keep it from lowering too far. And it's full of finishes. So it's just a good way to get those out of the way of everything else in the shop. I've got my stereo speakers back here mounted on the wall. They give nice sound all throughout the shop. Of course, those are my earphones, my face mask for turning. Just a little fan. It's been hot in the shop, so I've been keeping my fan handy. I do have my drill press right there. I use that quite a bit. It's a good location for it. I've got the planer. I don't use it very often. I need to find a new spot for that, and I think what's going to happen is the cabinet you're going to see in a minute, where the sander, the disc sander, the belt sander, the spindle sander, and the bandsaw are, I think it's going to come back here, and these items are going to move over there. This is my router table. And the router table is actually used as storage for all the stuff for my pins. I've got bushings, I've got tubes, I've got blanks. That's my collet chuck, all of my drill bits, spare blanks, lots of parts that I use for making my kitless pins. I need to build some type of a shelving system there to handle all that, because that's just not really efficient. Along the wall here, I use my micro mesh pads. Those are just little cups I use for water, for wet sanding. I've got my sandpaper on a little rack here. Those are some wrenches I got from Harbor Freight, and I sharpened them and used them for tenon tools. Got my tape hanging up there. Sorry, it's a little dark. There we go. A couple of collets, a couple of mandrels. I've got my buffing wheels. Back up a little bit, I've got a cabinet on the wall. In there, I keep my finish for my lathe, you know, my CA glue, different finishes. I've got paper towels. I keep my chucks in there. All types of tools that I need readily available for the lathe. Up above there, I've got my buffing wheels, just, you know, a couple of, those are my chuck, the different, I want to say teeth for the chuck. That's not what I want, the different, the grips for the chuck. I've lost what they're called. As we come down, right on this table, I've got my lathe. While I was cleaning, this is amazing. I did not know I had these, but I found 3 additional tool rests. So I've got those out to kind of work with them and check them out. Got my Wolverine system there with the CBN wheels on it for shaping and sharpening blades. Let's see if I can get this out with one hand. Whoops, there we go. This is my tools for my lathe. I've got some tools up front in the drawer. Over on this end, I got some of the parts for the Wolverine sharpening system. Down in here, I've got, you know, just dead centers, live centers, all that type of stuff that I use on a regular basis. Below the lathe is where I keep my miter saw, and that's just a toolbox that I keep a lot of I used to keep a lot of my lathe parts in, but I found it was kind of inconvenient to have to go to the toolbox all the time. So I keep it there, and I load it up if I'm going to go to like my club and demonstrate. I can use it to put all of my tools in. Come around the table. Just got some turning wood down here. I need to make some things out of that. I just haven't done it yet. I've got my cart right here. This is my maker's cart. Each of the shelves is loaded up with projects and blanks and different things that I need to make. But this is really handy. It's on wheels. I can push it all around the shop, use it anywhere. You'll notice my ladder with the tripod clamped to it. That is how I film over top of the lathe for you guys. I just clamp a tripod with a couple of pistol clamps to my ladder, and I can be right over top of the lathe and give you guys the best possible shots. As we come around a little bit, this is my Atlas metal lathe. I have got this lathe up and running, and it's ready to be used. I need to make some tools for it, and I've got some tool steel on its way. I'll be using the Wolverine grinding system to make those, and once we have some tools, I'll be able to start. I mean, it's working great. I did get a set of gears recently, so I can gear the main feed screw to be able to automatically feed. Should give me a really nice finishes, so I'm looking forward to doing some videos and working a little bit more on that for you guys. Back over this way. I meant to get rid of that, and I haven't yet. But these are all of my little drawers. I've gone through these, and basically they were full all the way down to the floor, all the way up. They were all full. Now those 3 are full, and about half of that one is full. The others are empty. I got rid of a ton of stuff, so I've got plenty of room. This little cabinet is my sandpaper cabinet, and I've got it sorted by grit so that I can easily find the sandpaper. In this cabinet up top, I've got some rolls from Cleanspor. I've got a couple of sleds that I've made. Inside of that cabinet is where I keep, it's kind of messy, but I can show it to you. That's where I keep some of my casting stuff up there. You can see I've got molds and things like that. Down here is basically just screws, and there are some, you know, other odds and ends, but I haven't gone through and cleaned that out yet. That's coming. Below there, this is what I was talking about moving. This set of cabinets. And I'm thinking that might be better served over behind the lathe, because I use this and this constantly in conjunction with my blanks. The spindle sander I use more when I do an intarsia or something along those lines. Haven't done one for a long time. I really am due to make another one. Back over here, I've got my main sled, my Inker sled for my table saw. A couple of blades for the saw and a couple of blades for the bandsaw. I've just got my tripod stored there. That's my dado set. It's a couple of grippers, just different things hanging on the wall. There's my fence for my table saw. And behind there, I've got my shop vac, which is hooked to the Dust Deputy, which is on a 20-gallon cardboard drum. And this thing I've got several lengths of hose. I can reach anywhere in the shop. I also use it for cleaning the car. It's incredible. Absolutely love it. I just plug a hose up and go. I use that all the time. Back in the back, I've got a big monster burl drying back there. I'll probably be 90 before that thing is completely dry. Backing up a little bit here, you can see there's my table saw. And beside it, that's the project I was talking about earlier, that tub on the back side of the shop. That is a cooler box. I had all the parts cut to build one, and they were just stacked up in the back of the shop. So I decided to put it together, and I have been filming it, so there will be a video on it, but I'm not in a huge hurry. I haven't even bought the cooler. I've gone ahead and moved my compressor into the shop. It's been kind of handy having it. I think as I do more turning, I will probably use that more. Just a little step stool there and back around to the doorway. A couple things hanging on the walls. Those are some art that my children did when they were very, very young. Just got a few things hanging up top. Right there, I've got an air filtration system. Thanks to Lynn Lacey, that comes in super handy. And there is my loft. That is a swing that my father made. I need to take that apart and refinish it. It's had some damage done to it. And primarily, this whole section all the way through here and here, these two walls, is nothing but wood, turning wood, and all types of project wood. So let me kind of give you a wide angle of the shop as best as I can with this camera. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll be glad to answer them. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this quick tour of the shop. Like I said, I've been getting requests for a long time to do a shop tour, and I've been kind of embarrassed because of how messy my shop has been. But I feel really good about it today. I hope I can keep it this way, and I hope I can continue to improve upon it. As I mentioned in the video, maybe moving some things around might set the shop up better for me to work in. Also, I need something back there to take care of all of my lathe stuff, get it off of my router table, get it up on the wall on some shelves or something to make it where it's easily accessible and I can free that up and maybe move that over here out of the way, because I really don't use the router table, and the planer are awesome to have, and when I need them for a project, they're super handy. I just don't use them very often. Same with the joiner, very rarely, because I make mostly small stuff. But that's a shop tour. I really hope you enjoy it. I want to thank you for joining me in the shop. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon, and have a great evening, everybody.